music, white boy. Lay down the boogie and play that funky music till you die. Till you die. Okay, all right. Again, I am in a musical mood, and I felt like I had to do it. And I hope that perhaps it made you laugh or smile at my silly karaoke skills. I didn't say mad karaoke skills, I said silly karaoke skills. But you know what? The topic that I want to talk about is not silly at all. I've been thinking, on the way to work, I had kind of a little epiphany about this. I have been thinking about what Watchtower tells you you're supposed to be and what you're not supposed to be. Watchtower wants to tell you that you are not trustworthy. They emphasize it. It is ingrained into the witness mindset, into the witness psyche. Okay, JWStruggle, how is it that I'm not trustworthy, or that Watchtower says that we are not trustworthy? Well, they love to trot out that scripture in Jeremiah about how the heart is treacherous and desperate. Who can know it? Nobody knows the heart. You don't know your heart, silly little infant. You can't think for yourself. You can't trust that treacherous old heart. But are we really to take that scripture literally? Are we really to take that scripture and just run with it? And then to live our lives as if we don't know what we want? To live our lives as if our gut isn't telling us what we should do in important decisions. In important decisions, friends and neighbors, trust your instincts. Trust your gut. It's usually right. If you get a weird vibe about somebody or something, it's usually right. So rather than being untrustworthy, I can't trust me. Well, what do I know? I need to talk to an elder. I need to consult the Watchtower online before I can make a decision on anything important, because the heart is treacherous. You see the fallacy there? It's not the kind of fallacy that you even need a bunch of logic to prove. I mean, I could do a bunch of research on that scripture in Jeremiah. Was it 10:23 or is it 17:9? Those are the two in Jeremiah that the witnesses love to use. Anyway, somebody will tell me. You know, we don't have to do a bunch of empirical research to know the truthfulness of our own mind, of our own figurative heart, as they would say. You just know. When you become a grown-up, you should get to the point, hopefully we all can get to the point where we know what we want. And we know our mind. We don't need Watchtower. We don't need the governing body to tell us our heart and to tell us how treacherous and untrustworthy that we are. Think about it. I mean, you know it. You already know this. Okay, so Watchtower tells us that we're not trustworthy. Well, I think they're wrong. They're wrong on that one. What else? Watchtower also tells us that we need to be meek and mild and meek. We should be very, very meek, like little lambs. Now, again, I don't want to get into theology. I'm not going to argue, what the Bible word means. I'm not interested in that. I'm talking about Watchtower telling you that you need to be meek. You see, they love stuff like that because that is the way that they enslave your mind. That is the way that they get a paying Mick customer to read the Mick Watchtower and go to the Mick Kingdom Hall and eat their spiritual McNuggets forever. Be meek. Don't you talk back to that elder. He's in Jehovah's right hand, or excuse me, he's in Jesus' right hand. He's one of those stars. That's what the Revelation book says. Did you know that? The elders are the 7 stars in Jesus' hands. You need to be meek around them. Don't get out of line. Don't speak abusively of glorious ones. You see, they want you to be a sheep. They want you to be beyond a sheep. They want you to be a slave and a thrall. A thrall is even worse than a slave. Look it up. A thrall is someone that not only does whatever they're told, but they do it gladly. Okay? So they want you under their thrall. So you need to be meek. Jehovah's Witnesses, you need to be meek and mild. You shouldn't ask uppity type of questions. You should just trust and believe what we tell you. See? So, Watchtower tells us that we're not trustworthy, that our heart is treacherous. It tells us, or they tell us, these fools in charge that are just men, tell us that we can't think for ourselves and that we should just be mild and meek. Another thing related to that is they say how humble we should be. And we should eat some humble pie if it is found out that we have made a mistake or run ahead of Jehovah's organization. We should be humble. Don't think too much of yourself. See, there it is again. It's subtle. It's insidious. It's insidious because they don't want you to have self-esteem. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want you to be humble. Well, what do I know? Gee, it just seems odd to me that everybody in the world says that it's 587 BC, but Watchtower says 607. So, gosh, I guess they know what they're talking about. I mean, what do I know? I read Josephus cover to cover, and I still don't see it, but I need to trust in the slave. Yeah, some slave they are. Slave masters is what they are. So they want you humble. They want you meek. Not in a biblical way, not in a Christ-like way. That's baloney. They want you to think that you're untrustworthy, that you just don't know what's going on. You don't know. I don't know Hebrew and Greek, and those brothers at Bethel, they know this stuff. Well, let me clue you in on something that you may already know. There isn't one dude at Watchtower Bible and Tract Society that knows biblical Hebrew and Greek. It's superfluous to them. It's unimportant. And I got that from a very high source. I can't say where. Someday I will be able to say where I got that information from. And that is a whole unbelievable chapter in my book or page in the story or series of videos on a very, very cool individual that I was able to get a lot of help from in my early days of getting out of the cult and escaping cult mind control, like Steve Hassan says in his first book. I like the wording in his first book. I'm just going to be honest with you. You know, he changed the wording in the new book, and the new book's good too. I have it. I have them both. But, you know, he doesn't want to say mind control anymore. He doesn't want to say, you know, he wants to say undue influence, and he's got new acronyms, and you know what? That's okay. He knows a lot more than I do, and that's, you know, on that topic. I just like the old phrases better. They just work better for me personally. But the point is that Watchtower wants to tell you that you're not smart enough, you're certainly not good enough, because they also want to tell us that we are guilty, broken, imperfect sinners in need of them. Now, yes, on the face of it, they'll say we're broken, imperfect, needy sinners that need Christ's ransom sacrifice. But they really mean you need them to give you that ransom, to explain it to you, to splain it to you. and to schedule it all out for you and give you the scaffolding on which that you can stand and build your life. You can't build your life and stand on your own without the Watchtower crutches under your armpits and the Watchtower braces on your legs, like little Forrest Gump. Remember little Forrest Gump? His legs were strong. He didn't need those braces, and he just broke right out of them when he was ready to fly. And that is what many of us do when we start to hear this stuff. We're imperfect. You know what? God doesn't make junk. He doesn't make junk. Now, that's a funny little cliche. I think I heard it on Jerry Springer once. But the point is that sometimes these down-home folksy phrases are repeated for a reason. God didn't make you badly. He made you you. He made you amazing. And he made us perfect the way that we are. And you know what? Maybe we all, maybe we all evolved and God was the one stirring the soup. And he was pulling out a flipper here, and he was dropping in a suction cup and an eye and a something here and something there, and then he gave us a little nudge and got us on land. Who knows? The point is that we ended up amazing the way that we are. And God may have been stirring the soup, Jesus may have been stirring the soup while they were listening to jazz, and they were making something amazing. So we are amazing the way that we are, right? We are amazing, and we can trust our gut. And we are not broken, horrible, left behind, pathetic humans, pathetic earthlings. I don't buy that. I just don't buy it. And that, of course, that is a fundamentalist Christian teaching in general. The witnesses have appropriated it, and they have twisted it into something as a means for control, as a big fat lever to stick inside your rib cage and give a little every time you get out of line. And you know what? There's probably some other fundamentalist type of Christian religions that use it in that way as well. You're a broken sinner, and I just, you know what? I don't buy that anymore. I think that the words of Christ say it all. That, we can be perfect, just like God is perfect. He said that. And we don't have to argue theology, because that's not really the topic that I'm going for. And it's okay if you want to argue theology. I have no problem with you doing that. I just ask that you be nice to other people's feelings. I'm done tearing people's belief systems down. That's what we did in when we were, in the Watchtower. We just delighted in bursting people's bubbles with our sharp little pins and showing them where they were wrong. We don't have to do that anymore. People are perfect the way they are, as good as they can be. And I'm speaking, specifically, but I'm also speaking generally. The human race, we put a man on the moon. We've made the most unbelievable music and art and stories and on and on and on to tell us enough, just like Shakespeare said. Shakespeare said, and remember in Hamlet, his famous soliloquy, in how art like a god in certain ways. In other ways, we're like animals, but in other ways, we're like gods. And this is all metaphorical, but use it. Use it to break out of the Watchtower's mindset. Use it to clear out all that stuff. I know I say that often. And hopefully you're so far along that you just kind of chuckle. Oh, he said it again. He said it again. Well, I'm way past that point. Oh, I hope you're way past that point. Good for you. Good for you. I am almost past that point, but I still got some stuff I want to work on. So we are not untrustworthy. We don't have to be meek sheeples, especially when someone is trying to control us, when someone is trying to use us like a Kleenex, because that's what they do. They use people like Kleenex. and it's despicable. It's despicable, and I'm not going to sit around ever again and let that be done to me or my friends or you, my good and dear friends, my fellow strugglers.
The order is rapidly fading, for the times they are a-changing.